Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm John.
And we're the Geezers on the Go.
Go, go, go.
This time we're in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley at Natural Chimneys County Park, a true time capsule of both prehistoric and medieval times. The park is in Augusta County near Mount Solon, Virginia, about 10 miles south of the West Virginia border. It's a big park with 165 campsites. Only 10 have full hookups, but most of the rest of them have water and electric. The park pales in size, though, to the towering natural chimneys that give it its name, 120 feet tall and 500 million years old.
When these chimneys were first formed by an ancient sea, the world was exploding with some of the strangest life forms we've ever discovered. Everything from giant shrimp to a big-nosed mollusk with 5 eyeballs. That's not all that distinguishes the park, though. It is host to what might be America's oldest continuous sports competition, the annual Natural Chimneys Jousting Tournament, held every year since 1821. And finally, there's not a lot going on in Mount Solon, but nearby Bridgewater has all your shopping and dining needs, plus an upscale winery.
And there's a little sign here that says, "It's always time for a good glass of wine." We're here at Natural Chimneys County Park in Mount Solon, Virginia. It's like I said, a county park that's huge. We're on site C1, has alphabet loops up to F, and a couple in the back that's called a J loop. We have lots of grass here. We're right by the road, which it's in the early May, so it's not a lot of people here. I think in this whole park I counted maybe a dozen people. Some of the sites are kind of a little weirdly shaped, so it's kind of, they're all grass and you can just try to pick out which way you want to back into the site. Our water and electric is right behind us, and then we share the utility box and the water spigot with the person behind us. So you might have to bring some extra extension cords and maybe an extra water hose just to make sure everything fits. But you can see here how big this place is. And take a look at some of the sites. It's just too many to show all together, so I'm going to pick out some sites which I think are probably the best sites in the park. As you can see, this is a nicely maintained park, and there's a lot of space here, and you're not real close to your neighbors. Probably the biggest drawback for someone like us is there's absolutely zero cell service here. The person at the front said it's because probably there's a big ridge here, and the chimneys sort of block the cell service in this park. A couple of my favorite sites here on the C loop is our site is number 1 because it's right on the end, so there's nobody next to you. But number 2 wouldn't be bad either. It's a little ways back there. You just would have to figure out how you wanted to negotiate yourself in there. You could either come in from that direction or back in from over here, because there are a couple trees right in the middle. But once you got in there, you'd have a lot of big space, and there's your water and electric right there. 2 spots next to each other I would like on C would be C8, and boy, you could pull way back from the road from there, way back to there. That's 8. And there's 7 back over here. Again, you could pull really far back, and you just have to figure where you'd want it to have your utilities. Number 8 is perfect. Look like 7 would be too, and there's lots of trees here, so I think these are some really 2 good sites on C. This little end section of section A loop It goes 8 and goes down here 9, 10, 11, 12, and back over here to 13. The boxes are used for both sites. They have 2 sets of electric. These have full hookups. They don't have many trees, and I always think it's funny they always put the full hookup sites right next to the bathroom, I guess because it's easy hookup, but if you had full hookups you wouldn't need to be that close to the bathroom. But if you need them, they're right here in the end of the A loop, right by the bathroom. If you wanted some full hookups, this one B loop here has a couple, B10, 9, and the back there's 11 and 12. Those 4 have full hookups. They have some shade, and you just have to sort of negotiate your way off the road because there are some trees, but B, you have quite a bit of space, and same with the ones on the other side. There's us on C1, so if you wanted full hookups, right at the end of this B loop you could find a few. The back side of this D loop is probably one of the prettiest sections of the park because you're sort of away from everybody. You're not real close to the bathroom either, but if you listen you can also hear, I guess certain times of year, like now it's beginning of May, I can hear the river rushing behind us. At the far curve of the D loop, right across from where the river trail is, I would like number 16, because you have a lot of options here which way you want to park because there's so much space right there. And then I also like the one that's next to it. It's number 17. Right near some of the river trails in the far end of the D loop, there's quite a number of really pretty sites. I would recommend over here, again, is number 22. It's nice and big. You have all this space here. And then next to it, 23. And these probably would be a little closer to the bathroom over there if that's what you needed. That one looks like there's a new picnic table, number 23. And you have all this space out here in the front, so you have plenty of room to back in. And then there's 24, another big grassy area, lots of shade over here. It'd be great in the summertime. And then over here, I like 25 also, because it's got plenty of trees and you have plenty of grass, and this one probably the closest to the bathroom. In the E section, I would suggest site number E1. It's got this nice big tree here and got plenty of space to pull in, and then you have this big gigantic open space there that leads right down to the playground. Also on the E section, I would recommend number E, because you're E8, you're right under the tree, and over there is E10. You might not have as much shade, but it's nice and flat and open. And then on the opposite side, it's also is E9, is nice and flat and has lots of shade, along with number 10, which is over here, and you can just sort of decide which way you wanted to park here. You could park sideways, front ways, whatever way fits your fancy. In the E section, I also would recommend 23, which is under this nice tree, and 22. They both have nice big spaces. On the F loop, which is the last loop all the way at the end of the park, I would recommend number 10 because it's nice and flat and some trees. And then the last site is number 15 at the end, and that nice and flat too, and the utilities are on the right side, and your door would be facing that the trees over there, so that's a nice site.
This is these are tent sites. They're at the far end of the park.
The J loop, I think it is. So that's the PT, the primitive tent, but on the other side there's a J loop.
Yeah, on the inside, on the other side of the truck, there are more campsites there with electric. There's no water, but you can fill up your tank. But these are tent sites on this side.
And there's a camper.
Looks like somebody decided that his camper was a tent.
This is the J loop right across from where the jousting track is. So I suppose if you came here for an event, you could be right here and you could really watch everything. Plus they're really nice looking sites. They have electric and nice and flat. A good number of trees. I'm trying to see. They might have water. I'm not sure.
No, just electric.
Just electric. Okay. We're at the far end of the campground down here, and it has a little parking lot, and as you come down, this is where the chimneys are. I'm going to go over here, take a little closer look at them. It says that it took nature millions of years to make these chimneys. And they're all kinds of cool shapes, and some of them have little trees growing on top of them. They are from another little different view. They are really tall. This one chimney rock in the middle sort of looks like a face. Sort of looks like somebody's nose and a chin and some hair.
Geologists think that the reason these chimneys are still actually even standing here and haven't eroded away is that because the alternate layers of chert and sediment are perfectly horizontal. If they had been pushed up from the earth in a slanted or, you know, off kilter sort of way, they may have eroded away. But, you know, because they're horizontal like this, the harder chert layers have sort of protected the rest of the limestone.
At the base of the chimneys, there's a big day use area, so you could come down here, have a picnic lunch, and sit in the shade, and just gawk at the chimneys. Not a bad place to have lunch.
You know, when you go to a county park, especially one that you've never been to before, it's a bit of an adventure. You never know what you're going to get, but here we got something pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's called the Natural Chimneys, and they are spectacular. They're these big rock formations that have been here for millions of years and just have stood the test of time.
And they're worth seeing. They're worth coming to this park to see, even though you know, this park would be among our favorites in the that we've ever been to.
Right, except for one little thing.
Well,
well, maybe not one little one, but
the cell service is kind of bad. But but you can turn that into a positive. Right. You could, if you have kids or teenagers, bring them here because they won't be able to use their devices. You can get them off their devices for a weekend.
They'll have to commune with nature, go hiking, go walk along the river here, and just see the sights. Yeah,
the sights themselves are kind of well, they're a little primitive. They're not improved sites, and by that I mean that it's all grass and dirt.
And you can sort of park whichever direction you want to get the best, because they're pretty big, but they all have at least water and electric. They have, some of them have full hookups, and there's also one little primitive area at the end. It's just no things. But what's the cool thing else they have here, John?
They have a lot of activities in this park. They have concerts, they have a swimming pool, they have classes, and they have jousting.
Jousting. Who'd have thought jousting in the middle of Virginia, right?
But they do it twice a year, and sometimes more. They've had the national jousting here a couple of times.
And they said it's supposed to be the longest running sporting event dating back to the early 1800s. So it's something really different you can see. But it's a beautiful park, has over 100 sites. There's lots to do, lots of trails, and come see it just for the chimneys. The North River runs behind the campground, and I'm sure during the summer months a lot of campers use it to cool off. In the notes about the campground, they say that they do stock this with trout, and you do need a Virginia license, but they said it can get awful low in the summer, so it wouldn't be too great for fishing, I guess. I don't know where all the trout go, but you could probably come down here in the heat of the summer and get cooled off. I guess this trail just sort of goes through the woods a little bit. The D-loop is over on the other side of the path here. You can see somebody's trailer over there, and the river is that way. So this sort of is going away from the river, but it's a pretty wooded trail, and it'd be nice and cool probably in the summertime. Right now it's mid-May, and it's very nice. Oh, I can see him. Okay. Just at the parking lot where you go to see the natural chimneys, there's a shelter there, and then there's another little trail that says it'll take me to an overlook. It says it's only a quarter of a mile, but I think it's all uphill, so we're gonna go and see what we can see. Well, I'm getting up a little bit, and I don't know, looking kind of steep up here. But here we are. I made it to the back side of the chimney rocks, and there's a beautiful view out there of the countryside and the hills. I think that's the Blue Ridge Mountains, and there's some more of the cliffs. We were down there looking at them from below and also at night. Well, here's the natural chimneys at night. They put a light on. It shines on them. Really looks cool. Gives them another dimension.
I believe that this is the jousting arena. Yes, you heard me correctly. I said jousting. It is or they say that it is the site of the oldest continuous held sporting event in America. It began in 1821, and they've been jousting here ever since. Apparently, during the Civil War, one of Stonewall Jackson's generals actually jousted here.
Who knew?
I wonder if he won.
We don't really know who won, but we're pretty sure it's not the type of jousting you're thinking of. You know, where riders try to knock each other off their horses. In non-contact jousting, one rider tries to put a spear through a small suspended ring at full gallop. Still pretty impressive. In case you're not familiar with the medieval jousting, John and I put together a recreation for you. And we assure you, no animals were injured during the filming.
And here we go.
Here we go.
I don't like the look on her face. You got me, you win.
Yay!
Too stupid. Well, we're coming up on the landmark that gave this town its name. There's the bridge, and below it is the water. Hence, Bridgewater, Virginia. It's got your normal, complement of grocery stores and gas stations and stuff you'll need. I think we're going to go find a winery that we passed on the way into town.
We're here at the Bluestone Vineyard, And it's a tasting room, and there's a little sign here. It says, "It's always time for a good glass of wine." We're here at this Bluestone Winery here in Bridgewater, Virginia, about 10 miles from the campground. And you pick little bottles of wine. Let's see, John, what do you got?
Well, I have a Quartz Hill Red right here.
And they come in a little bag.
That's very fancy. Notice Jill gets the pink bag, and I get the blue bag.
This is the Wagner. John's going to try the Cab Franc. The wine of actually where we live is the up in the Finger Lakes. That's their big wine, is the Cab Franc.
Yeah, if I like this, it'll be the biggest upset of the day.
What do you think?
Well, as Cab Francs go, this is not too bad, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's not one of your favorites.
Well, Cab Franc isn't, but this is one of my favorites of all the Cab Francs I've had.
Well, that's good. Have another sip. Vidal Blanc. It's their estate-grown wine.
You look like a wine drinker with those glasses on, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm very studious.
Very astute.
It smells.
Ah, there's nothing quite like a glass of fine wine after a good joust. For now, we must take our leave, and, as always, we'll meet ye farther down the path.
Stop!